Do you mean who was Jesus Christ in the view of the mainstream of the Christian tradition? Do you mean who was Jesus Christ the way a historian could try to answer the question? Or do you mean who is or was Jesus Christ in the way the Christ figure gets reinterpreted in many of the new religious movements, alternative religious movements? And the answers are really quite different.
Nevertheless, there is widespread agreement on certain basic facts about Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus was actually born 5 to 7 years B.C. in the Judean village of Bethlehem. Judea was the land of one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Little is known and nothing recorded about the life of Jesus between the ages of 12 and 30. When he was about 30 years old, he was baptized by John the Baptist, an eccentric sort who had called on people to repent of their sins. That baptism initiated the itinerant public ministry of Jesus, which lasted approximately 3 years. The controversy that would lead to his death centered around the claims he made for himself. He said he was sent from God. He called himself the Son of Man and answered yes to those who asked him if he was the Son of God. He was put on trial, first before 2 Jewish councils and then before the Roman-appointed governor Pontius Pilate, who did not actually find Jesus guilty of any crime. Nevertheless, Pilate acceded to the wishes of an angry crowd and had Roman guards flog Jesus and then force him to carry a wooden cross to Mount Calvary. There he was put to death in the fashion of the day, by crucifixion on a cross. He died in a matter of hours, was removed from the cross and placed in a tomb. 3 days later, the tomb was found open and empty. His body was not recovered.
Jesus is a very unsettling figure. I think that's why it's not implausible that we date history from before Christ and after Christ.
I think you can't help but respect him. I'm not happy that there's 2,000 years of Christian history where Jews were persecuted. I'm not comfortable with that. I think most Christians post-World War II aren't comfortable with that either. But to the extent to which I could read, say, the New Testament as a document which can teach me something about Jewish life in the first century, I find this fellow an awfully intriguing character.
C.S. Lewis argued, and I think he's right, that if Christ is not God, he's not good. Because he not only claimed in strong terms to be the Son of God, to be God, but there are lots of claims that are implicit in his... he claimed a lot of qualities that only God could have, and really set up himself as an object of faith. If he was not God, or if he didn't have that kind of position, then he either knew it or he didn't know it. If he knew that he wasn't God, but said that he was, then he'd be the worst kind of liar that could ever be. But if he didn't know that he was not God, and yet claimed it, I mean, he'd be something along the lines of a lunatic. Someone, C.S. Lewis says, would imagine himself to be a poached egg.
He clearly was influential. He, by the gospel accounts, was a bright young man who grew into an influential teacher with a small circle of disciples, not unlike the rabbinic teachers we know from Jewish rabbinic literature.
He was a person, I think, that many people would have liked, and many people do like today. Your ordinary person, your ordinary man, young man who was fun to be with, who liked to party with the wrong people, who apparently enjoyed partying and drinking a little wine and having a good time, who violated the Sabbath from time to time, and again, who was your basic good person, but fun-loving person at the same time.
The Jesus of the Gospels, you either have to edit out all sorts of unpleasant things.
Such as?
Oh, such as the rather unfriendly language of whited sepulchres, hypocrites, cursing the fig tree, a fair amount of religious fanaticism, to put it mildly, not sweetness and light.